Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down how to apply for a UK visitor's visa. It's probably one of the easiest things to do, but a lot of people find it difficult, so I'm going to be breaking down how to go about it, and of course ensure that you get the visa approved irrespective of where you live across the world. I've applied for tons of UK visas for myself and for my friends, family members, and I think every one of them have been very successful. So in this video I'll just be walking you through how to go about it and how you can do it for yourself without having to pay exorbitant fees to agents and all of those people that charge you money to process a visa for you, right? So let's get right into it. The first thing you want to do whenever you want to apply for a visa is head out to Google and then simply put in apply for a UK visa on Google, and then once you do that it brings you to this page, and then you simply click on apply for a standard visitor visa. So once you get to that page, you would find a lot of the details that will tell you what you need to apply. You can go on this link, read the requirements, check if you need a visa. Of course, not everyone needs a visa to visit the UK. For me, I hold a Nigerian passport. I currently live in Canada and I need a visa to visit the UK just like every other person who holds a passport, irrespective of where you live. As long as you hold a passport that would not allow you to enter the UK visa free, you need to apply for a visa. So the visa we want to apply for is the standard visitor visa, right? So it's the standard visitor visa and it's for £115 and it's valid for a maximum of 6 months. So now, how do you go about this application? You simply want to click on the apply now button. But before you click on the apply now button, you want to ensure that certain things are ready and you have them on ground before you get going. The first thing would be your proof of funds. So we'll talk about that. That's basically to show that you can afford your trip to the UK and you're not dependent on anyone. And also you would also need to show your proof of employment and how exactly do you get your income. So if you don't have those two things in place, you might end up struggling a bit to get the visa, but if you have those two things in place, every other thing becomes a lot more easier. So we'll get right into every other thing. So you click on the apply now button, and once you do that, of course you gotta select your language, which is of course English for me, and then you click next. Now, for you to get a visa to visit the UK, you need to complete a biometrics application. That means they want to take your picture to confirm maybe you're not a criminal, and they also want to take your fingerprints just to be sure that you are eligible for what you're applying for. I think that's just pretty much security check, right? So for me, I live in Canada, so just put in wherever you live. So I've done this for people living in Nigeria, so you can as well choose Nigeria, India, wherever you're watching this from. And once you click on it, it brings the details of where you are, or the locations that are available in your place. So I've just said I've identified the location and I know where I want to do mine. So basically you click on start now, and then for you to start, you basically need to create an account. So for you to create an account, you have to put in some details. So I'm just going to put in some random details in here just to be so I'll just put one of my business emails. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna put that. That's gonna be my email, and then you have to set a password. So you just set passwords, and I'll just go with a random password. Of course I won't let you say it. Okay, so and then once you do that, you pretty much save and continue. Oh, sorry, that was a mistake with my input there. So Tamara at 5starmarketingsystems.com. So you pretty much put in your details, and does this email belong to you? Yes, of course. Then you save and continue. And then do you have another email address? I'll just say no, and then I can continue. Then they want to know your telephone number. You put in the telephone number, and then you can save and continue. So I'm just gonna put something random here. 56678889231. Just something random. I don't want to put in my personal details just to be safe. So do you use the number while in the UK or not? So I use it while in the UK, whilst out of the UK, and it's a mobile telephone number, right? So you save and continue. Do you have any other telephone number? Pretty much, no, I don't. So, are you able to be contacted by telephone? So, yes, I can be contacted by telephone call and of course SMS as well. So you put that in there as well, and then you save and continue. Then once you're done doing that, then you want to start filling out your name. So for me, I'm just going to put my name, which is Tamilore, and then my family name, which is Adewuyi. Then you save and continue. And once you've done all of that, you basically ask further questions. So I've not changed my name for any other purpose. What's your sex? They ask you. And what's your relationship status? For me, I'm single. So you put in single and you put in all those details. Then they start asking for addresses. Now, this is where this thing gets a bit complicated. You start getting lots of questions. And of course, I wouldn't delve deep into the basic questions. You know that, you know your name, you know your address, you know all of those things. So I would just go right into my own previous application and then walk you through some of the things that I have chosen as some of my answers in the past. And that way you can always just leverage off that and like pick it up. So you would see what they would ask you one of those questions. What is the main reason for your visit to the UK? So mainly it's always tourism. If it's not tourism, of course, you choose that it's not tourism. But for me, it's tourism. And I believe a visitor's visa is always around like tourism. Also, if you're visiting family and friends, you could as well choose tourism because it saves you the headache of having to provide proof or documentation of those family members, friends, and all of that. So I always just choose tourism. Saves me the headache. So are you going with a group? No. What's your main reason? Tourist. Then this is the very, very important part of this application. The purpose of your visit. That is, why are you visiting the UK? So they say give details of the main purpose of your visit and anything else you plan to do during your trip. So I'll just say, during my visit to the UK, I plan on visiting London. As a passionate football fan that has been following the Premier League for years and supporting Tottenham Hotspur, I plan to watch Tottenham's opening home game of the Premier League season against Everton on the 24th of August at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. Also, I plan to explore popular tourist attractions in London, such as the London Eye, the National Gallery, and the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. So now, this actually is a very, very key part. You want to ensure that the information you're giving here is accurate and also very, very verifiable. I got denied a visa to Poland a few months ago because I told them I was going for an event without putting a date or like being precise about the event I was going to. So you want to be very, very precise and exact about the details of the event you're going to. And that's why I always put events that are very, very verifiable, like sports events. Sporting events are like the biggest. Like, no one says no to them. You go on Google, you would find the Tottenham game. I'm a Tottenham fan. So pretty much if you maybe are a guy or a lady, I think sporting events are like the easiest ways to go. You could also use a lot of other events as well. But for me, all of my visas, 90% of the times, I just use sporting events because first off, of course, I'm a very big fan. I end up attending those events. So it's not like I'm lying, but also most importantly, these events are very verifiable. And if you have some money, it makes it a lot more easier. So now, once you've done that, they want to ask you the date you plan to arrive in the UK. This is also very, very crucial. Of course, it has to be a few days to the event that you've chosen to attend. So you can see, for me, the event I was meant to attend would be 24th of August, which is the Premier League game. But now I'm saying that I'm getting there on the 22nd of August. Now, when do you intend to leave the UK? You give it a few more days. You've told them you want to visit other places and all of that. So basically, you put in the details of when you're leaving. Pretty much, the longer you say you want to stay, the more money they're expecting you to have in your account. So typically, I always go for just 1 week, maximum 2 weeks. I did an experiment a few months ago where I told them I was going to stay for 6 weeks, not with the UK, with Poland, the one I told you I got rejected. And I got rejected because typically, no one takes a vacation for 6 weeks. Very unusual, especially if you don't have a strong passport. It's not something that is so common, so you'll most likely get rejected if you choose like a very, very long stay. Now, once that is out of the way, The other important part of this whole application process is your employment status and your income. In fact, this would make or mar your application. If you don't get this right, you're most likely going to get screwed. So, what exactly is your employment status? Please don't choose unemployed. Of course, if you're unemployed, I'm not saying you should lie, but you shouldn't be unemployed if you're trying to go on a vacation and you're sponsoring yourself. If you're a small kid, minor, and your parents are sponsoring you, that's perfectly okay. But for an adult, if you don't have a job, maybe you should just sit back at home, right? So now, for me, I am employed, so I have a job, although it's a part-time job, and then I'm also self-employed. I run a marketing agency. That's a business, right? So they would ask you questions like, when did you start working for this employer? So I've been working with my employer for since August 2023. It's pretty much a part-time job, or better much a casual job. I do it whenever I want. So they ask for the address of the employer. I'm going to blur this part out. So that's the address of my employer, the name of the company, and the employer's phone number. So you put in the details and ensure that those details are also verifiable. Don't just put in random stuff, right? Very verifiable stuff. Then your job title. So you put in the job title. I'm not going to show you that as well. I'm going to blur it out. And then how much do you earn each month after tax? Because of course this job is a part-time job. I earn about $2,000 per month. So I just did the estimate over 3 months, and I divided it by 3 because of course I don't have a fixed pay. It depends on how much work I do, and I don't work every time. So I work whenever I choose to. But averagely I've been earning $2,000 a month. So my average income after tax is around 2,070.89 Canadian dollars. Like I said, I live in Canada, so that's a thing. So now you got to describe your job. So I did that. I described my job, and you should do that as well. Then they also ask, what is your other job? So for this, which is like my side hustle, right? Or rather, my main hustle, that's more like my side hustle. So this is like my self-employed part of me. So I put in I'm a marketing consultant. How much do you earn? So pretty much, as at that point in the year, I'd maybe earn maybe 50,000. So I just put in that, which is average of what I earn. Because it's like a self-employed, it's a business. There's no fixed income as well. So you just want to put an estimate. So that's the key part. Then they ask you, do you have any other income or any savings? So for me, I do have savings. So if you have savings, good for you. Then they ask you, how much do you have in savings in pounds? Now, this doesn't have to be all the money you have in your life. It just needs to be the savings you have in that savings account. So for me, I had a savings account that had this amount in it, about £7,502. Typically, this account is my visa application account. I just keep the money there for visa applications. So how much money are you looking to spend in the UK? So I told them 4,000 Canadian. And how much money do you spend monthly? So for this, I always want to put something quite verifiable. So I just put in my rent, which is around 1,548 for how much I spend a month. Every other thing is variable. So that's the fixed one. Then will anyone be paying towards the cost of your visit? So for me, no. I believe if you're an adult applying for yourself, then it should be no. But if you have maybe kids, or you're a minor, or you have parents sponsoring you, then it's okay to put yes and then put the details. Do you have family in the UK? For me, I don't. So if you do, put that you have a family there. These are the crucial parts. Now, for the accommodation, I see a lot of people make mistakes putting the address of their family members, their friends, and the likes. I don't recommend that. I just recommend that you go on booking.com, book an hotel with free cancellation, and then put in the dates, 22nd August to 29 August. Put in the dates and then the address of the hotel. After you get the visa, you can as well cancel or book another hotel. Most times, I don't stay in the hotels that I book. I stay in more expensive hotels, or maybe not necessarily that, but I stay in other hotels. But those other hotels that I use are always the low priced ones, because the more money you say you are going to spend, that's how you're going to be judged. So if I'm presenting a $10,000 bank account and I'm staying at a $500 hotel per night, it gets really, really tricky. But if I'm staying in a $100 per night hotel and I'm staying for 7 days, they are only expecting me maybe to have $2,000. So then it's all on me. So you just want to put in the hotel, go for a very cheap one pretty much. And then they would ask you for your travel history. This is also very, very crucial. So if you've not been issued a UK visa in the past, just put no. If you've been, say yes. Then you put the date of your application. Then they would ask you for your travel history. So you basically would put all the places you've been to there. Then they ask you, have you been rejected a visa before? For me, I've been rejected visas a couple times, mainly first to Turkey, which was in March 2021. You put the reason. So I will show you my reason for being denied visa. So just pretty much, you can tweak around it. There's nothing to hide. So I've also been denied a visa in Rwanda, which was like a business permit. It's also been denied a visa to Poland. So I just put the reasons that are on those denial letters there. And then, all the other places that I've been to. So I just list all the places that I've been to, right? Pretty much like 15 countries plus in the last few years. So I just fill them in. Then they ask you like just other security questions. And then now they also ask you, do you have other things you want to tell us about the trip you're taking? So I also like to fill this place out properly. So if you needed to add more information about your application, but we're not able to, you can write it here. So I just always write there that I plan to take a short vacation, which I'm entitled to at my workplace. I've saved up for this trip for a while now, and I'm looking forward to it as it gives me the opportunity to explore the United Kingdom again. My last visit was very memorable as I met a lot of amazing people and had a great experience watching Tottenham play, and I would love to have the experience again. And I'll be attaching 2 bank statements for the purpose of this application. My savings account where I've saved up the money I'll be spending on this trip, and my checking account which shows that I can afford my day-to-day expenses without dipping hands into my savings. These things are pretty easy to write. You use your brain and use ChatGPT. So use that, and then they ask you, where do you stay? So for me, it's Canada. What's your status? Permanent resident. If you're a student, you put it in. It doesn't matter. My first UK visa, I was a student. You can apply from Nigeria. I've done it for like a couple friends. It's not so difficult, right? So all you just need to do is be very, very truthful with your application. And then, of course, you must have your application fee. For me, I think it was around 151 USD. So you fill it in, and once you're done with all of that, you sign it, you book an appointment with either VFS. For the most part, here in Canada, it's VFS. I know in Nigeria, it's TLS. So you book an appointment with them. You pay the appointment fee, and then you go in for your visa appointment. You do the biometrics, and within, typically, most of the times, my applications just take like 7 to 10 days. Within 7 to 10 days, you get a response, and then you would be good to go. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone that will find it valuable. And in my next video, I'll be telling you about applying for a Schengen visa and getting approved for it. I've gotten this as well twice this year already, so it's something that I'm quite good with, and I believe you're going to learn a lot from it. So follow for more, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. And don't forget, when you are applying for the UK visa, it is very, very important that you pay attention to details. You're truthful, and if you need to prepare better for it, take your time. Give it 3 months, give it 6 months, but you want to be very, very thorough with your application. It's pretty easy. You want to have the money that they are requesting for, because if you don't have the money while you're traveling as a tourist, right? So, and remember, a tourist visa, it is not like a migrant visa. So as a tourist, you're not expected to like relocate it there. So I know that a lot of people make this mistake. They get a tourist visa and they're like, oh, I'm moving to the UK. But like, no, you're not. You're just a tourist, right? So all you're applying for is a standard visitor's visa, costs 151 USD. When I did it, just confirm the price, and all you need to do is fill out the form accurately, submit an application, and within 14 days, 14 business days max, the UK will respond. And I think there's also the option to pay for a fast track. So if you enjoyed this video, I would see you in the next one. Bye for now.